What is up, everyone, and welcome back to the Jenna and Julien Podcast. She's holding in her dink-dink this week. I thought it would be nice to take a little break from the dink-dink. You can talk, though. You can, make noises. Anyway, welcome back, everyone. Thank you for joining us this week, where we like to talk about the Jenna and Julien things amongst the other things. And wouldn't you know, it's just like one of our old podcasts with wine on the table. Because this week's episode is brought to you by Club W. Customized wine for your palate delivered to your house. And they work directly with vineyards, so they get their own grapes, cutting out the middleman, delivering you wine that not only you don't have to go to the store and buy, but that you will like. Go to clubw.com/Jenna Julien right now and get 50% off of your first order. This is Club W wine. Are you going to talk?
Dink, 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 dink,
I thought we had it, guys. I thought we made it a whole week without that. The song's probably fading out right now.
Good thing I just filled in that space where the song ended and then started again.
Good thing.
Yeah, no, anyways, thank you to Club W. We actually tried the first bottle. They send you, bottles in 3 at a time, right?
Yeah, we already finished one.
Yeah, we finished one. It was delicious.
It was outstanding. So you basically fill out, a palette form. We'll talk about it later, but this is our Club W wine. And I figured, just like our old podcasts, we'll have a glass of wine on the podcast.
Yeah, here, I'll hold the mic super duper close.
No, you don't have to hold it.
No, I'm going to move the whole thing.
The wrong way.
I'm going to move the whole thing. I'm going to do it.
Can you just let the AV guy know what he's...
I'm going to move it all around.
It's directional. So if you're holding it with that towards...
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let me just pour it. No, you don't need to touch it.
Okay. I'll hold the cup close to it. Julien gets so mad at me when I touch it. Oh my god!
Wow, that was legend. That was a legendary sound.
Aren't you glad I held it closer?
That was pretty good. Thanks. Let me pour you now.
It's making bubble noises. Shh.
This is our podcast, guys.
Think, 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 think.
Such a treat.
Oh, that was good. All right, do mine. Do me. Do me. Do me. Do me. Do me.
Good God. If you guys are one of those people that likes that sound, you're welcome for that little feature. We'll do it again later if we go for seconds.
Oh, that smells good.
Cheers.
Cheers. We got Jenna Julien mugs.
And our Jenna Julien mugs. These are in the works for you guys to be able to buy very, very soon. We are nailing down a place where you can go right now and buy these. So soon to come, these in your house in hand for coffee and wine.
That wine is lit.
Is it? I haven't tried it. Hold on.
It's lit. It's lit.
Oh, man. Yeah, we're big white wine fans.
Yeah, I like white wine.
No, this is our second bottle we've tried, and it's outstanding.
Yeah, delicious.
For those of you, because I know there are a few, because we didn't start this channel with the numbers we have now, who weren't here at the beginning, we would drink every single podcast. We had a drink with us throughout the whole podcast, and oftentimes we would have multiple drinks.
True.
And then it got to the point where we were podcasting on Mondays and we didn't really want to get drunk every Monday.
True.
So, but it's nice to occasionally, bring one on, especially when the sponsor is appropriate. So for those 21 and up, you can do the same. Anyway, this is an open door podcast, by the way. You guys can't see it, but the door to the podcast room is open.
We're trying something experimental.
It's experimental. The door is open, so the dogs may come in and leave as they please. Which I don't know what's going to happen.
I think Julien feels nervous about it. I was
nervous.
Let's just leave the door open, see what happens. I don't know if those of you guys have dogs or stuff, animals that if you need to get something done, you can't have them near you because they're very distracting.
Yeah.
Because mine, they'll
yours are needy.
Claw you to death until you pay attention to them.
Well, it's more of yours need to be held and cuddled. And Peach just needs to be played. Yeah, played with. She'll just bring her toys to me when we're trying to edit and shit.
I think it's because they've gotten into the habit that they know when we come in here that
they know it's...
Yeah.
Yeah, they know what it is.
We're closing the door.
They know what it is.
Well, let's fuck shit up. Peach Queen!
No.
Peach!
Okay, you don't need to induce it.
Excuse me, Queen!
You don't need to induce it.
Let's do it. Let's see what happens. It's an experiment.
All right, if I were to guess, I would say they would come in if you called them. That's just what I would guess.
Okay, Kermit would never come when I called him.
Okay, that's fair.
Kermit!
Yeah, he's kind of disobedient.
Kermit, come. I bet you $75 he will not come. Kermit, come.
Deal.
All right, looks like I'm winning.
Well, you didn't give us a time limit.
Okay, till the end of the podcast.
Someone's coming. Oh, damn it, it's the blonde one. Oh, Kermit came.
Oh my God.
All right, pay up, Jenna.
Kermit came.
Come
Oh my
in.
God.
And then he left. So this podcast is being released a little over a week removed from the Super Bowl, but because we record a couple days in advance, we figured we would talk a little bit about the Super Bowl. Hi, lady. You want to come up here?
I didn't care about either of the teams in the Super Bowl.
Come on. Yeah, neither did I. I had no skin in the game, which was actually kind of relaxing because, when my team's in it, I'm not enjoying it. I'm kind of nervous the whole time. And
Where did that saying come from? No skin in the game.
I think it comes from the pigskin of the football. That's what that saying comes from. Like when you say you have no skin in the game, that means it's the pigskin, which is the football.
Yep.
It's not yours. It doesn't matter. You have no skin in the game. It's not your football.
It's not your football.
That's honestly my guess. If you guys know what that actually comes from.
Because I was thinking what the opposite of that was. Someone has all skin in the game.
Someone has skin in the game.
Their
yeah.
skin, but not their teeth.
No, it's not
or
their skin.
Fingernails.
It's the pig skin.
Not their hair.
I don't think that saying was ever referring to human skin.
I have like both of my elbows and one knee in the game.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, neither of us had skin in the game. Even if the Pats were in the game, I don't think Jenna would have even had skin in the game.
My mouth is in the game.
Okay. I don't think I'm the only one who thinks this, but I was a little underwhelmed entirely from the beginning to the end. Everything included with the Super Bowl this year. Commercials, halftime show, production, game. It was just...
Peyton, Eli, everybody.
I mean, congrats, Peyton. Pretty epic, career-defining 200th win. And, I mean, great. I don't really care. The commercials were a huge letdown. And the halftime show...
Puppy Monkey Baby.
Puppy Monkey and the Doritos one with the ultrasound.
Oh, yeah. A bunch of, I think it was abortion groups were angry at that because...
Oh, my God.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Cause
wait, hold on. Abortion groups were angry?
Correct me if I'm wrong because I didn't read the articles because I try not to read, things that I think are going to, make me mad.
Yeah.
But I saw a headline of, abortion groups are angry at that Doritos commercial with the baby, getting excited about the Doritos because it's humanizing an unborn baby, an unborn...
So it makes abortions look like they're killing something that's capable of wanting Doritos.
Yeah. So I was that's like everyone being oh, Beyonce had a world stage and instead she chose to promote the Black Panthers. I'm like, can't we just appreciate Beyonce for a second? Does it really always have to be about
I appreciate Beyonce. Political? What I didn't appreciate from the halftime show, Peach.
Was Coldplay. I got in a lot of trouble for talking shit about Coldplay. But they were set up to fail.
Well, okay, off the top, the halftime show for me was... I don't know if you guys had the same problem, and I think, Jenna, you agree with me, when it was mixed poorly. For the first whole half of the halftime show, you couldn't hear, their voice. It was just, there was all instrumental, and then there was crowd noise, but, if you were a huge fan of that song, you couldn't, jam out, because you couldn't hear their voice. Whether it was, a technical problem on their end, or it was just crazy loud. I don't even know, but it was a little underwhelming. If I was watching 21 Pilots or something in concert or on a halftime show, and I was they're playing my song, and I couldn't hear the words very well, I'd be very annoyed because you wanna get down, but you can't. Well,
I just thought it was Kumail. What is his name? The guy that is on Silicon Valley. Whatever. I retweeted him, his tweet where he's Coldplay's so boring right now, they're literally showing other concerts. Which is so true. I get it that you want... Coldplay's a great band. I don't hate Coldplay. But, it's a Super Bowl, man. Have somebody that's got some big jams that can just pump everybody up and get everybody hyped.
Yes.
I get that you want your little progression of the act. You want it to slow down and then speed back up and blow the roof off. But, you're setting Coldplay up to just get fucked right now. Chris Martin sits down and plays the piano and you have fucking Beyonce and Bruno Mars. Just let Beyonce and Bruno Mars do that shit,
Yeah.
It's saying, I'm really upset because
I think.
I'm really upset because I'm a huge Willie Nelson fan, and why don't you guys let Willie Nelson play the Super Bowl? I just think that there's a reason why some acts get invited to play the Super Bowl and others don't.
I agree. It was also interesting because wasn't this the first time in a little while that they didn't have just one headliner? They had like a couple. The last couple I can remember were like Bruno Mars,
Beyonce, Katy Perry, Bruno, stuff like The Who. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it was
just bad. Bad commercials. The halftime show was like, oh, here's some Beyonce. Just kidding. Here's Chris Martin singing over her. Finally, his microphone started to work towards the end when they're all singing together, and all you can hear is Chris Martin and not Beyonce. I'm like, excuse you, Beyonce is taking everyone to church right now, and all I can hear is Chris Martin. Riddle me how and why. You can't.
Yeah.
And Bruno Mars got me pregnant with his dance moves, and he didn't take his sunglasses off one time. He was beautiful and amazing. And
he is the ultimate showman, after all.
Other than that, there was football, but neither of them I'm invested in, so I didn't give a fuck.
I don't know. Here's the thing. Like, I will admit, I get wary of people complaining about big events just to complain. Like, every Super Bowl, people are like, it sucked. Every fucking this, it sucked. So I don't want to come off like that. I understand that I am complaining and I'm not happy or wasn't super pleased with it. But I think what it was is like, every Super Bowl has like some sort of defining thing that makes me enjoy remember it.
Left Shark.
Left Shark is a good example. Whether, it's a commercial, whether it's an occurrence planned or not planned. Yeah, exactly. Or something in the game where it was a crazy
Jackson's
play.
Titty.
That wasn't in the game, but that was memorable. I don't know. This year just didn't have anything. Like, there's nothing that I'm thinking of that, like, damn.
Yeah, just
that was
Eli
Super Bowl
Manning's
50.
face. Just his face after they won. Just Eli Manning's face.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think it comes from the fact that it's fucking very corporate and needs to be, addressed to everyone.
What is very corporate?
The Super Bowl. They can't just like do funny, awesome, amazing shit. I'm sure there's so many people that plan that every year and just push for things to be like more exciting and more amazing. And then there's just corporate suits being like, we can't do that because it's the Super Bowl and you need to appeal to every American on every level. You can't just go do weird shit. You can't just like take a bunch of risks.
You know what? I mean, I think maybe that, like, the smartest people in advertising are not spending as much money on the Super Bowl as they used to.
Because it's not worth it.
Well, yeah. But still, they're like, that's my guess. Like, I feel like there's a lot of big, smart advertising, teams behind brands that just aren't really putting much into the Super Bowl anymore because it's like, they're like, why? If we can do something on Twitter during the Super Bowl, if we can do something on YouTube leading up to the Super Bowl, first of all, we'll pay 1/50th of what we would have paid. And also we could get more exposure that way. Right. And people might like it more that way. There's less pressure that way.
It's way too expensive for what it is when you think about
$5 million for 30 seconds.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
For what though?
Think about it. When you're watching the Super Bowl, how high are your expectations for commercials? They need to be great.
Yeah.
Because you're expecting them to knock it out of the park. And then when they don't,
you think about when you're a kid, that's like, I just remember like the Budweiser Frog commercials.
Yeah.
Like you remember them for your
remember the
entire
GoDaddy
life.
ones?
Yes,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know when this happened culturally when it was like, all right, we'll see one funny commercial and then the rest of them are just kind of whack.
Yeah. And I think it was like the perfect storm of like the commercials kind of letting us down and also the game and the halftime show. Like sometimes the commercials are whatever, but at least the halftime show was dope.
Well, I mean, I thought Beyonce and Bruno Mars were really great, but it was just that their parts were so short, and then there was no like Missy Elliott coming out. There's no fucking Spice Girls. There's no fucking. There's no surprise. There's no.
A lot of people were speculating like Gaga was going to come out with Beyonce.
Yeah, it felt really short, and like I was like, I didn't sign up for this. I signed up to get my mind blown, and nothing got blown. So. I feel very unblown. I also had read that people were upset. Remember in the beginning when Lady Gaga went out to sing the national anthem and Marlee Matlin was signing the national anthem. And she's a big deal. Julian didn't know who Marlee Matlin was, but for those of you that are familiar with her, know that she's a big fucking deal in the deaf community and just like in any community. She's a big fucking deal. She's really cool.
Yeah.
And the performance of the national anthem was meant to be Lady Gaga and Marlee Matlin because I'm pretty sure she won like an Academy Award. Like she's important.
Oh, wow.
And when they said she's going to be signing the national anthem, They then never cut back to her signing the national anthem.
Well, they showed her at the start, and then they never...
Exactly. Which was like, you guys could have put her in a little bubble in the
like
corner.
a
You could have split
picture.
screen her. Like, you know, how are you serving the deaf community if you're, like, not going to show her signing the national anthem at all?
It seems like a lot of work to get her there to sign it for not that much payoff if you're not going to show it.
Well, yeah.
And even at all. I remember you were like, is that Marley Matlin? And I was like, wait, you know the name of the person who's signing the national anthem?
I was like, fuck yeah, I do. She's a legend.
Yeah, obviously she's more than just someone who signs. But yeah, that's interesting. I did not know that.
Yeah, I guess I can't say a lot of people, but I know that some people are angry that they were like, and now to also sign the national anthem, here's Marley Matlin. And then they just never cut back to it.
Yeah.
I would be fucking pissed, man. If I was deaf and I'm like, finally, someone's going to sign this for me. I'm living right now. It's Marley Matlin. She's a queen. Psych. You don't even get to see 5 seconds of her doing it.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm. It's looking like 16.9 million tweets were sent out, according to Nielsen, during the Super Bowl number 50 this last weekend, or 2 weeks ago for you guys. 16.9 million tweets throughout the Super Bowl. There were something like 100-something million peak viewers, if I'm not mistaken. I should check that, actually. I don't have that figure in front of me. Well, I'm just thinking, like, every year that number goes up, right?
Does it?
The tweet number.
Oh.
Not the viewership. That's different. But I can only assume. Why don't I look up Super Bowl 49?
Yeah, well, that makes sense because it's Twitter. So
well, yeah, but I mean,
it's a new technology. Of course, it is.
Super Bowl 49.
And I mean, new as in relation to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. I don't know. I should have looked at these figures up before, but it's just the thoughts coming to me now is like, there's so many tweets. There's so many people discussing what's going on as it's happening, but not necessarily inside the medium of television. Like, could you potentially see the Super Bowl like somehow moving more digital?
More
in a
people
couple
watching
years?
it on that Go 90 app or whatever. I saw people tweeting about like, I'm watching the Super Bowl on Go 90. I'm like, cool, go fuck yourself. I don't know what Go 90 is.
Yeah.
I know that Michelle Phan is on their commercials, so anything she does, she's a queen. I love you. Go do your thing, whatever. I don't know what it is. I don't want to watch a Super Bowl on a mobile app.
I'm not saying I'm not saying watching the Super Bowl on your phone by going digital. I'm just saying like both with advertisers and just the event in of itself.
Well, I think a good example of that is Esurance, because last year they did that.
Yes.
Like they did the retweet and then we'll pick a winner for $100,000, and everyone was like, finally a level of interaction between us and the Super Bowl, and it was trending for like days.
Because everyone wanted to win.
This year, I looked at it again because I was interested on the trending topics. It didn't break past like the 4th highest trending topic. Like people just literally didn't give a shit this year.
The Super Bowl didn't.
People didn't give a shit about the Esurance.
So the Esurance did it again this year.
They did it again.
They cared a lot less.
Well, yeah. Did you retweet it?
I didn't know they did it again.
Well, you weren't paying attention.
No, I was paying attention. That just kind of shows. Like, I think last year it was out there. This is what we're doing. This year, I didn't see it, and I watched the whole Super Bowl.
It was
I missed
immediately. It was like within the first 5 minutes of the Super Bowl.
I was probably getting some wings, but I don't know.
Yeah, you were probably eating and blacked out.
I black out when I eat. That's true. Yeah. I don't know. I guess like it's just I don't know. The way this Super Bowl underwhelmed me made me think that you never think that the Super Bowl can leave you so like, wow, that wasn't that great.
Well, what's going to happen is that if they keep trying to appeal to, the vast majority of everyone, if they just blanket everybody and they're not willing to ever have any controversy, I imagine maybe some people just won't tune in the year that their fucking team's not in it.
Yeah.
Like, I think that it's always going to be really, really culturally significant in America. I know that I'll watch it, or most people that I know will watch it just because it's what you do. You watch the Super Bowl.
Do you think that...
But if it keeps getting awful and shitty, I'm not even going to keep my TV on the whole time. Yeah. I'll turn into the halftime show if, Patriots aren't playing, or fucking Bills. Go Bills. I'll fuck with some Bills.
Do you think that, like, if you were to say right now, do you think it's possible that the Super Bowl has reached its peak?
I can't say that. I don't know.
I mean, it's just like because the Super Bowl. Well, because the Super Bowl was born and bred on an old media platform, TV, right? And so now a lot of things are struggling to thrive on TV, and even things that used to thrive on TV are struggling to continue to do that.
Isn't football still the number one most watched whatever? He's just snoring.
Just kidding.
I know for certain on Monday nights that it's the most watched anything.
In the world or the U.S.?
In the U.S. Okay. I'm not talking about
global. Yeah. So what's your question?
The NFL, isn't it the most watched anything on
I don't
television?
have that figure, but I wouldn't doubt it.
I'm pretty sure it's really up there. Mm-hmm. You want to know how I know that? Because fucking Finglass asked that as a trivia question to her cheerleaders.
Well, that's how you know it's
when
legit.
They have to prove that they're not
no way
idiots.
That can be wrong.
She's like, well, if you want to be part of the Dallas Cowboys cheerleader organization, you're going to have to prove to us that you're smart too, because you can't just have a bunch of dumb girls running around, okay? And you got to be in front of press conferences and stuff. You got to hold yourself like a lady. And then she'll be like, what's the number one thing that people watch on a Monday night? And someone will be like, American Idol? And she's like, you're cut, girl. I'm sorry.
That show, man, brings so much to the table.
It's the NFL. Anyways, that's how I knew that. So I guess I was a dumb girl before Finglass came along and
everything
turned
out of
me
her
into
mouth
a lady.
is an absolute fact. That is for sure.
But I can't say for sure that anything's going to happen in the football world because, people are still watching football.
Absolutely. I know it's going to continue
watching
happening.
It mobily a lot more, but I don't think it's going to stop those advertising dollars and those people.
That was more my question.
It pisses me off for the Super Bowl as a person that's not religiously watching football the rest of the time. Yeah. That I know that because my eyeballs are tuned in right now, that people are just making bajillions of dollars. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's sort of annoying.
Yeah, this was the first year it really felt like maybe advertisers are not going to continue to just buy into this, forever.
I think it'd be great if they did. It'd be fucking awesome.
Well, yeah, do more interactive stuff. And
you could have one person buy up all the commercial spots and play a short film that's hysterical the whole time.
That'd be ridiculous.
Right? Yeah. What if one company was like, look, we're going fucking bankrupt. We got, $10 million left in the company.
You would get a minute worth of commercials.
Fine, fair, whatever.
60 seconds.
Let's go broke and just make the most hysterical thing in the fucking world on the Super Bowl.
But that's
what a way to go.
But that's the idea, and that's what I always felt like with Super Bowl commercials was that these companies were starting in late February for 11 months working on a spot that they knew would have all the eyeballs in the world. And this year it just felt like they didn't really give a fuck.
Right. Well, here's what I think the problem is. I think the problem is that it's an old tradition. Yeah. It's popular on an old media platform. Yeah. And in the past, when they've tried to cater to a newer, younger audience, like you have MIA flipping off people in the crowd, you have, Madonna and people that our older parents' generation in middle America find very jarring and offensive. Everything that they do is just fucking sexualized and disgusting and awful. And I think that the NFL went that way. Remember, they had Britney Spears and Aerosmith and NSYNC. That shit was fucking rad. Yeah. We were all so excited. That's when, the Super Bowl was a big thing. And also, everyone's eyes were pointed in the same direction, right? You just have fucking TV. You don't have Twitter also and other ways to consume media.
That's true, yeah.
Everyone is just watching the Super Bowl.
It's a level playing field.
So once they started in, now we have internet, we have phones, they started trying to cater a little bit to that audience. And then, they see the backlash immediately of that they shouldn't have booked all of these MIA. You shouldn't have booked Madonna. You should not have Nicki Minaj at the Super Bowl. This pisses my middle America ass off, and I don't like it. And they decided, I think, to take a safer route. I think that
it felt safe.
I think that they're, instead of trying to push the envelope and keep moving forward in a way that will keep everybody watching the Super Bowl, they're just trying to cater to the audience that they know what to expect from.
They're like, why? Why would we push the envelope? What's in it for us?
Right. Well, because what's in it for them is a whole lot of anger and backlash and what they've been getting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's it's a lose-lose or whatever.
They can't have another Janet Jackson, and they realized that immediately after it happened. That was the step one of them, making it more straight-laced.
That was crazy, yeah.
But now that it's boring and we're sitting here as adults being like, why did I fucking spend my day watching this when I don't care about the teams, care about the cultural aspect, the commercials, what everyone's doing today. It's like, it feels like a waste. It feels like I got duped into doing something that I don't know why. It feels like when you wake up someday and you question everything and you're like, wait, what do we do? What do we do on Easter again? Why are we hunting for Easter eggs? I don't get it. Is it cool if I just tap out this year?
Yeah.
That's what I think.
No, I think
that they can only take advantage of the fact that they know everyone's going to watch it if they cater to everybody the best that they can, and it just feels like they've given up. Yeah. Katy Perry was a risk to me, though.
It does.
I was shocked that they booked Katy Perry.
Yeah, it does feel that way.
But it's not like she was allowed to have whipped cream squirting out of her fucking boobs.
Yeah.
She had to tone it down, girl.
Yeah.
She came in on a giant lion.
I mean, but and she started with in the boxing ring, right?
Got it from the bottom, now yeah.
No, that was a different performance. That was a totally different performance.
Totally different performance.
Wow. No, it feels a lot like, it's just someone gave up, or, advertisers are giving up.
Well, I guess because some of the people that listen to the podcast are younger than us. Some of you are older than us. Some of us are our same age. I think that just about covers everyone. Good work, Jenna. Thanks, Jenna. I'm curious to know your thoughts, though. Like, if in the future the Super Bowl wound up to be...
Their thoughts. Or my thoughts?
Their thoughts.
Okay, got it.
If in the future the Super Bowl wound up to be, pretty straight-laced, kind of boring, and you didn't really find it culturally important enough to tune into, would you shut it off? Would you do something else? Would you feel the need to watch the Super Bowl just to watch it in the future? Because I'm sure there's plenty of people that didn't even watch it this year.
Well, going online, going on Twitter, seeing, tweets from people and trending topics and whatnot, I felt like that, that's kind of the case every year where people are just like, oh, it's time to watch the Super Bowl because that's what everyone does. And it felt like that again this year, but I can absolutely see it being like, okay, it's Super Bowl Sunday. Wait a minute. We don't have to do this, and then that gets more and more prevalent because the Super Bowl gives you more, less and less reason each year to be like, oh, let's watch it. I could rather be on Twitter catching all the footnotes and seeing all the gifs of what I've missed while I'm doing something completely different. If you're curious
enough, you'll go watch a video of it.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think this year was the first year that you and I haven't gotten together with other people.
Yeah,
at least for me,
we sat at home.
There was no party. There was no alcohol whatsoever. We sat at home. We watched it.
Yeah.
We hung out, and then it was over, and then you go about your life. Yeah. That was the first time that I did no other celebrations, even food-wise. What did we get? Some pizza?
We didn't even go all out.
Yeah, we didn't. That was it. And then we're done.
Yeah.
It was the first time, at least in my adult life, or even my kid life, that I can remember, not having it be a big to-do. It was just, I woke up and the Super Bowl's on, so I'm going to watch that.
Yeah. It was definitely the first time I felt that way watching it. Every single year I've been with more people easily and more food and drinks and noise. This year we were just on the couch watching it, and I loved it because it was it didn't feel like it deserved anymore. I don't know. It's interesting. I definitely am curious to hear you guys chime in because whether you're younger than us, older than us, same age as us, I still feel like it's something that's interesting to talk about right now.
Well, I really think that it's interesting that not everyone's eyes are pointed in the same direction.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I feel like
that's true.
Before there was mobile internet, people using social media and stuff like that, you can't really go anywhere and avoid the Super Bowl because everybody else is watching it.
Yeah.
It's not like unless you're going to go for a hike in the woods.
Yeah.
Or you're going to go drive around.
Yeah. Steve Martin tweeted, he was like, don't tell me what happened. I'm recording the game as a joke. You can't for the Super Bowl. Yeah.
But now if you wanted to just go sit in your room or, watch a Netflix on your phone, you don't have to watch the Super Bowl. You could probably find plenty of people via the internet that have no interest in watching the Super Bowl, and you can go fucking play Destiny with them. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just think that it's an interesting tradition for, especially for me, someone that doesn't really care a whole lot about football, don't really watch it, but yet every year I tune into this thing. Why? I'm going to be straight up
That is
honest
the question.
with you.
That is the
I'm going to be
question
straight
I'm
up
trying to
honest with you
ask.
because I really like baseball. I don't watch baseball religiously. And even the World Series. There's plenty of World Series that I haven't watched.
Same here.
But I like baseball a lot more than I like football. Why is that? Because football is the, most important sport in our country.
Even
so
though baseball is called America's pastime.
I'm just abiding by our cultural norm.
Yeah.
Which is everybody gets super drunk and eats a lot of food on Super Bowl Sunday. Super Bowl Sunday is the number one highest day for DUIs in this country, which is terrifying.
That is terrifying. Wow. How
Not
recent
New Year's
is that
Eve,
stat?
Not Christmas. I don't know.
A couple years.
I couldn't. Yeah, but I can't
most.
give you a year because that'll be wrong.
Yeah.
Marvel's just on the ground licking.
He's licking the air. I'm looking at him in the mirror. That's
Good licking
good
me.
He was staring at himself in the mirror too.
Wouldn't you if you were that handsome?
Fair point.
Marvel, you're a handsome guy, bud.
Yeah. I mean, the DUI thing is very scary, especially on Super Bowl Sunday, because you don't think of it as like everyone's going out and getting hammered like New Year's and then driving home. It's like Super Bowl Sunday. You're with your family. You're eating chips. Like, why is that the highest DUI day?
Well,
I'm not saying I don't agree with it. Obviously, it's it's a fact. It's just, it is surprising.
because it's so culturally ingrained in our society. But the commercial this year with Helen Mirren saying, like, don't drink and drive.
Yeah, give a damn.
I can't really remember. I could be wrong, but I can't remember too many commercials in the past of the Super Bowl having any sort of social responsibility for that being the
It's all just like beer.
beer.
Yeah.
Tailgating, beer.
Yeah.
Drinking,
Yeah,
Budweiser.
this year they accomplished one out of the two things I think that could have improved it. One was the Helen Mirren really straight up kind of sobering ad.
Yeah, hey,
no
just
pun
to
intended.
remind you, don't be a fucking dick.
Yeah.
Stop driving drunk, you assholes.
But I saw like there was a big campaign for like, social media people. They were like, it was brand deals. You were tweeting out hashtag like give a damn and stuff, which is like, it is what it is. People are doing their brand deals. But at the same time, I saw other like influencers and creators and, people on the internet tweeting that hashtag who clearly weren't part of the brand deal. So that's when you know that the message has kind of transcended just like it's a campaign, it's an advertising job to like, okay, really though, like really this means something. Like that commercial was, it did hit home, and I'm sure it hit home with a lot of people. Who knows what kind of difference it made. Hopefully it made a big one, but
that's the first time that they've taken some sort of social
I don't know about that. It may be the first time
really?
It's been
It'll
that
be like
blatant.
Budweiser, please drink
No,
responsibly.
I'm not saying
that's not taking
No,
responsibility.
I don't think the footnote is
fuck you guys.
Well, I don't think the footnote is the only time that they've.
If they relentlessly promote drinking and then they're like,
I'm not disagreeing.
Everybody's dying in drunk accidents. Seems like, better promote Budweiser.
I'm not. No, you're right. I'm not disagreeing with you that they've done an
they gotta
irresponsible
get that
job.
money to pay for Beyonce.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you that they've done an irresponsible job at saying, drinking and driving is no joke. But I don't think this year was the first time that they really made a spot dedicated to just shaking you and being like, don't drink and drive. I just think this year's spot worked the best. At least to my memory. Maybe you're right, but I just don't know that for sure, Mm-hmm. Here's the thing. Drinking and driving sucks. This whole problem would be solved if you got your wine delivered to your house. With Club W, you can do that. Sign up online. Go to clubw.com/Jenna Julien. Not only will you get 50% off, 50 guys, half off your first order, but you will get online. You will fill out a palate form, which basically asks you questions about your palate. And this isn't just pertaining to wine. It's about coffee. It's about food. It basically gathers key questions that they use to formulate what wines and what different sort of groups of wines within groups of wines, subgroups, if you will, that would please you and that would make you, happy. Even if you didn't know that is what you wanted. So you fill out this list and they send you your wine, okay? You get the first batch of wine, you taste it, you fill out another list. It's very short. They're like a couple questions. You take 2 seconds and it's basically moving forward. How did you like this wine? What would you change? And then by the second delivery, you should have a wine that's so dialed into your taste that you would never not only have been able to pick it out for yourself at the grocery store, but don't have to. Mm-hmm. For us, that's literally what we did. They sold us on that. They told us what they were about. We were like, okay, let's see. So we did it. This is our first batch of wine and I have zero complaints. And I'm not some some
wine connoisseur.
Yeah, look at me. I'm like twirling my wine. But I do like good wine, and I can tell when it's shit wine.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that they work with vineyards, have their own grapes, cut out the middleman, it's fresh, it's what we want. And I had talked about this before last time Club W sponsored us. My previous way of picking wines was which bottle looked the coolest. And I don't think that's a bad strategy.
It is. It's a terrible strategy.
Definitely
Don't listen
worse.
to Julian.
It's definitely worse than deferring to someone who is an expert, which is Club W. And these are exciting bottles. So it's kind of like you still get to have that little pizzazz of the bottle. I mean, that one's really dope though. Zazz. Check it out, guys. If you like wine, don't go pick it up yourself. Don't go stand at that aisle while you're looking at the wine with 5 other people who have no idea what they're doing. It gets heavy in your
grocery bag too.
Nobody wants to go get wine at the grocery store. Get on Club W. Go to clubw.com/Jenna Julien and have them bring it tailored to your taste, tailored to your address, so you can drink it and enjoy it.
Plus, it's really nice. Like, we had 3 bottles that were delivered for the month, right? And it's like each week, sort of, you get a nice
perfect
little
amount
treat.
for the
You're
month.
like, all right, what night should we drink this with? Like, what dinner?
Yeah. Guys, you can try it. Get 50% off. If you don't like
really glad.
You can be done. But
it's really exciting. It's glad.
Yeah. So thank you, Club W, for sponsoring the podcast.
Yeah, thank you, Club W.
Go check them out. Makes the podcast free for you guys, so we appreciate that. Wow, I'm wearing a sweater in here, and I'm quickly realizing that might have been...
Take your sweatshirt off.
I'm not wearing a shirt underneath
Take it off. Take it all off.
I'm not going to be naked on the podcast.
Naked on the podcast. Naked on the podcast. Naked on the podcast. Press 1 now. If you want Julien to be
it's
naked
not live,
on the podcast,
and they don't have a keypad.
Naked on the podcast.
Hi, Mobile.
Press 1 for everyone.
Wow.
No, bud. Now they know the door's
Can
open.
I see Marble? I want to have him talk. So, Marble,
okay.
What's up, dude?
Good noises.
That's Marble's struggle noises.
Good
struggle noises. So this is kind of a chill podcast. I don't know. We're traveling in a couple days.
It's a talkcast.
It's a talkcast. We're traveling to Canada in a couple days, which is why we're recording it early. And it's not normal for us to record this early.
We're going to Edmonton, Alberta, Canada.
We're going to Macuan or Macuan.
Macuan or something. I think so, yeah. Someone's going to have to help us.
Yeah, I think it's Macuan.
Pronounce it. Macuan.
University in Edmonton. And Jenna's going to speak to the students, which really quick, let's talk about that. Because I've been to more than a handful of these events where you go to colleges and you speak to the students. And I think it's one of the coolest things that you get to do with your career, whatever you want to call it, with your job, with your life. It's very, very cool that you get to go to a college, speak to these kids who are in the realm of the mindset that you are in or were in a couple years ago, and you get to really connect with these kids. And I don't know, there's something like I get from like watching not teenagers talk to you and ask you questions and listen to you and respond to you.
And nothing against teenagers.
Obviously nothing. I love all the people who support you and support me and come out to these events and stuff. But there is something where it's like, they're slowly entering the real world right now. And you're like so familiar with that transition and that kind of frame of mind and what everything goes along. I mean, you went to college, you went to grad school, you know what it is. And so the questions are different and the responses are different and the energy is different, and I think it's something it's just a very cool thing,
Well, thanks, Julian. I mean, when I do these things, people a lot of times are like, oh, what do you talk about? Like, do you have like a speech or is it like a performance or like, what are you doing? And to be quite honest with you, a long time ago, when I first had the opportunity to get invited to a university or a college, I was like, holy shit, that is the coolest thing. Because I would categorize it into something that's like a life goal, right? Talking at a college is just like a life goal. And I was like, at that time, not too far removed from being in college. And I thought back to my past self and I was like thinking of little fucking Jenna that's got to go to softball practice, that just had class like all fucking day. I just trudged through some snow to get here. Like somebody cool came to our school, fine. But what I never wanted was to sit in a room and have them talk at me, no matter how interesting they are or like how cool it is. The experiences that I got the most out of in college were interactive. Like we had a transgender, a woman that had gone from female to male, and it was in a small class of like 20 students. And I had never met a like trans person, like in the flesh before. I had found other people on the internet. I was familiar with that.
Transgender male?
It started female,
so
transgender
trans
to male.
Got it. Yeah, got it.
And he was the most fantastic fucking person I'd ever met, because we were allowed in a small classroom to just sit there and raise our hand and ask any question that we wanted.
Yeah.
And none of it was like inappropriate. It was all just like really well thought out, because we didn't have the YouTube community. We didn't get to go on there and have Gigi and these people that are so open and willing, and just as long as you're not being offensive, if you have a question, they're more than happy to just help you understand. I literally at the end of that talk, I was like, thank you so much. I will gladly pay back my tuition after this experience. And that always stuck with me. And I was like, if, I ever get an opportunity to talk to people, I don't really think the most important thing to do is to go and like talk at them. I think that might be more entertaining for a lot of people, but what might make it the most impactful or helpful in anyone's life is to make it as interactive as possible. And so for most of these things, we do sort of a moderated Q&A in the beginning, and usually they pull those questions from students
from earlier.
Right, because I will tell you, Julian will tell you, anyone will tell you, and you can tell yourself because you know this. Schools are so ridiculously different from each other. Like when we were in Arizona versus like Duke, like it's just very, very different from school to school, from population of people to whatever. So again, to get up there and presume that I know what these people want to talk about is just insane. So we do a moderated Q&A, and then the last half of it is an open Q&A. And we just sit there, we talk. Like sometimes they just want me to like, keep going, go on, like talk to us, tell us things. And other times it's like, the Arizona crowd, they just want to fucking scream and yell out, like, come get fucking shots with us, It just all depends. But I think that I've decided, and I started that way, and then I decided that the best way to, have a talk with college students, because we are all in a similar boat of like not really knowing where we're going, what we're doing, is to just make it as like warm and welcoming and interactive as possible. Because although I am like up on a stage talking to them, we're all in the same fucking boat. Like we're all fucking confused. And it's really nice to do that in that sense. I can give some advice, but for the most part, it's very like just...
I find your mindset on that like really, really interesting.
I'm here to inspire you to just do your own thing, man.
Yeah. And the whole like not talking at you thing, I find that interesting that you think of it that way. And I think that's really important. Do you feel like the fact that you went to college and graduate school and had the experience of someone coming to your school and interacting with the students, whether it was talking at them or interacting, but because you had that experience and you didn't grow up watching YouTube and you didn't grow up idolizing different people like the way people do with YouTube now, or watching the way they do now, like you had the experience on the other end of this college situation. You didn't have the experience on the other end of the YouTube situation. So do you feel like because you were actually in that spot on the other side that this is even more special when you go to colleges, because you were in that crowd a few years ago and you know what I mean? Like you weren't a YouTube subscriber, but you were in that crowd. Like, so going on that stage, I feel like it's, does it feel even more special because
it's
of
totally
the transformation
special.
Of like,
it's totally ridiculously special in every way, shape, or form. The most of which to me though is that in college, every minute of your time really matters. Yeah. And I was told by my softball coach, she was like, in college, you have more free time than you've ever had in your whole life, which is very true on one hand. Because if you don't have a job and you're just taking classes, you have a buttload of fucking free time. Unfortunately, most college students have jobs. They have 2 jobs. They play a sport. They do internships. So all of that free time gets taken up very quickly. Yeah. And you're not really getting any money for any of that time. Yeah. You're just paying money for all of it.
Get to think about money.
Exactly. Yeah. So the fact that I understand the value of a college student's time and the value of, $5 or whatever, depends on which school they're at, for they have the students pay for some of them and not for others of them. But even if it's $5, I understand the value of that $5 for a student to go and listen to someone that is almost essentially their peer, that is maybe just, 5-10 years ahead of them in terms of life. Yeah. It is a big deal, and it is very special to me. And when we have that time with college students, I get so much out of it as well, because you're in a room full of people that are all on the same wavelength, which is very different than when you're in a room full of teenagers. When you're in a room full of teenagers, nothing against teenagers who are
just have YouTube
intelligent human beings, right? Like, they have great ideas,
absolutely,
they're smart,
absolutely.
But they do have this internet thing where they really idolize people on the internet. Yeah. They really tend to think this is like, I would do anything for Cameron Dallas to just
absolutely.
I would just want to breathe his air.
Go on.
Yeah. And the college demographic is just enough removed from that to always treat me like a person, like a human, and we have an actual conversation. And then the older demographic of people are the ones that look at me and just really treat me like trash, just really fucking take dumps on me.
They turn their nose.
So it's nice. All of it's nice. Interacting with people is really nice at any age group, at any level. The oldest people, I think, are some of the toughest for me because they don't understand me. And if they do, it's coming from a place of they very much want to understand. They really want to learn.
Frustrated.
They're just frustrated. They don't quite get it.
Yeah.
But they are curious at the very least. Yeah. And then the people that are really hurtful are the older people that are just
well, I mean, if you were to sit down and pick, I would like to connect with this stage of someone's life. So basically, I would like to connect with 20-year-old Jenna rather than 10, 15-year-old Jenna, 20. You know what I'm saying? So you're connecting with your college students, okay? And you were in college, so you know what your mind is like in college. So to have that demographic really connect with you the way they do, I would say it's pretty cool because you were so familiar with where you were mentally in college.
Well, because I'm still that way.
Exactly. And you're and not only you stay that way, but college absolutely shapes you in so many ways. And for you to think about yes, you have influence over crazy different amounts of people in different age groups and all sorts of things. But the way you get it in person with the college visits is I feel like if you were to choose, that's not bad. You get to really sit there and talk to and connect and have a moment with someone who you are so familiar with because you were just there, and that really, it shaped you.
Yeah, man. I mean, you can speak to this, and I know a lot of people listening feel the same way. The downside of being in college is that you are told everything. You are told, this is how you do this. I'm your professor. I have a fucking PhD. I know everything. The path in life is this. Yeah. Hey, you want to be in TV, broadcasting, whatever? Here's your path. Yeah. Hey, Jenna, you want to be in psychology? Here's your path. You are told from day one what you need to do to get to your point B. Yeah. And it's so restricting in higher education because you really start to believe that this is my only choice. I've chosen a major. This is the path that I'm walking down. It's too late to turn back now. And you start getting so claustrophobic, your world is closing in on you. You're I have to finish this path or else I'm lost. Yeah. And that is just not the case. Yeah. And I think that because I still live that and breathe that every single day, that, you know, I'm taking a risk every day that I wake up by doing something different because I'm so far out of the path at this point. I know now that there is no returning back to my path.
That you still relate.
Right. It's comforting as a college student to get someone in there that is just willing to tell you, like, hey, man.
It's okay to not know what the fuck's going on.
It's okay to not fucking know. Yeah. And whatever you think your path is, your life is, you don't necessarily have to take that and feel so trapped. Yeah. You know, you don't have to feel that way.
Yeah. I'm just imagining, you know, what it would have been like. Like, I was just like every other person in the entire world in college. You're lost. You know, like, you don't know what the fuck's going on. You're going through emotional crisis. You know,
every day.
Every single day. You're a fucking mess. You're depressed. You're happy. You're sad. You have friends. You have enemies. All sorts of shit.
You're drunk.
Yeah.
You're hungover.
Like, all I could have ever hoped for and would have ever wondered what it would have been like to have someone who I looked up to or knew about and respected come to my school in the flesh and say, hey, you kid, lost kid who was crying last night for no fucking reason. Not that I cry a lot in college.
I cried.
I was pretty tough. I never cried.
Fucking time in college.
No, everyone does. I mean, you're a mess. But like, what I'm saying is like I'm just imagining what that would have done to be like, you know, I had Rainn Wilson come to my college, and that was so huge for me because I was a kid who was such a hermit in college.
We had nobody.
I was a kid who was a hermit in college, and for a lot of years, namely like, you know, sophomore and junior, I did a lot of just sitting in my dorm room, my apartment, just watching The Office. You know, whether it was background to writing a paper or it was whatever it was, I had The Office on almost 24/7. And to have Rainn Wilson come to my school and talk was great. I mean, it was so cool. Like, it took me out of reality for a second.
Did he give you guys the talk? Did he talk at you?
He talked at you. Yeah, but I mean, you don't fault him for it. You know, he's an older guy. He's in a different generation. But what I'm trying to get at here, which is, I'm trying to make a point here.
Oh, I'm sorry. Totally.
Is like, if someone like him, who I respected, said, it's okay for you guys not to know what the fuck you're doing. You know, whatever you're doing, no matter how lost you are from day to day, like, don't worry if you have no clue what you're going to do when you get out of here. Like, I can't imagine what that would have done. And when I hear you say that to kids in college now, I'm like, damn, that is cool. That is cool. Because they're sitting there 100% stressed about their test tomorrow. They're stressed about this. They're stressed about that. And they're stressed about big picture things. And then they have Jenna Marbles there, and she's, you know, she's their best friend on the internet. And she's just like, hey, guys, I'm serious. Like, don't worry about it. Whatever happens, you're going to figure it out. You don't need to know what you're going to do. Whoever says, you know, you're doing all the time is full of shit. And all. I feel like there's a lot to be said about someone who has influential power over people like that, who are in moments in their lives where aren't daisies every day. To hear that.
Thanks.
You know?
I appreciate that. What I think is really interesting, though, is that sometimes I do say that, and other times I don't. It's just totally dependent on the crowd. And when and if they choose to go somewhere, because we've had some that are just all light, all up, all happy, all funny, all fun. And that's what the crowd wants, and we do that. And then we've had other very serious schools.
Deep, yeah.
They literally want to pick your brain. They want to know what you think about this and this and this. And there's other schools that just want like very hippy dippy life advice. Yeah. And that's it. Yeah. It's so dependent on the people and who's there, who's present. You know, it's really interesting. It's one of the coolest things that I get to do in my job, I guess. And
I agree. I think it's really cool.
I can't remember a school that like actually was like, hey, come, and I was like, yeah, fucking no.
It's
always just
great.
Like a scheduling conflict.
Yeah.
Like if they're like, please come for free tomorrow, you know, we have to like, you have to like
cover your bases.
Yeah. You know, I can't go broke going to every college in the country.
Well, yeah, you could take a fee just like, you know, another person would.
Yeah, but it's one of the coolest things that I get to do. And I feel like I say that at every school, because every time that I am in one of these appearances, you get like so overwhelmed with what's actually happening. Because I don't tour, I don't do like what a lot of other people do. Mm-hmm. So I know that they get that, but I don't get that validation the same way that other YouTubers or internet people
which is
do.
Cool.
Well, because I don't go perform live.
You don't seek it out.
Yeah, No. I don't perform live, so I don't get the live feedback.
Yeah.
So when I do, it is really special because it's not something I regularly do. And it feels really cool to be in a room full of people when you're all having a shared experience.
Yeah, but it's also nice that you're not in a show. You know, you're just there to talk.
Well, yeah, because I don't really want to put on a show. Yeah. I could. I think it would be fucking hysterical. I'm not going to say never. I would totally do it someday. But at this point in my life, I love being home with my dogs. Yeah. And I promise you, I will very slowly make my way around the country and the world to meet anybody that wants to meet me or Julian. And I will do my best to do that. But it just takes a long time because you have to, I have to post my videos, you do the podcast.
Yeah, it's a lot logistically.
My radio show, there's a lot of things that have to happen in order for us to be able to travel. Yeah. And when I do get to, though, it's very special.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
because not everybody wants to go to VidCon and playlist.
Yeah.
I understand that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I honestly hope that if you are somewhere where Jenna hasn't visited, or you're curious as to what it is that goes on when she goes to a college, I hope this conversation sort of illuminated something for you, because I've always viewed it as something that's very special. I feel lucky to kind of witness it and be there and see the effects, especially, that you're my girlfriend. That it's a proud moment, obviously, but it's more.
Thanks, Tor.
But it's more than that. It's like it's just kind of a cool thing, and
it's really cool.
Let us know questions about that stuff. If you were wondering, how it started, where was her first school, well, whatever it is, just we'd love to hear you participate in the conversation, because it's cool. It's good stuff. And
I'm just amazed that anybody in college thinks that I'm cool or wants me to come.
Students don't lie, though. I mean, when I'm sure there's proposals and student governments, and when your name gets brought up, it clearly wins out a lot. So
that's fucking crazy.
Anyway, we're going to do that this weekend in Canada.
I'm coming to Canada. Don't forget your passport. I'm going to get a stamp on it.
Don't forget. I'll do my best to document our time there so you guys can get a little bit.
Whoa, the vlog. My ear itches. Sorry, I had to itch it.
You all right over there?
Yeah, I'm done. Sorry.
It's okay. We love you guys. Thank you for hanging out with us for one more week of the Jenna Julien Podcast. We appreciate your guys' time so much. Shout out to Club W, our sponsor this week. Guys, have wine selected for you by the experts who have their access to fresh grapevines. They're sending you wine that you know you want, and you don't even know it. You want it, and you don't even know it. This is wine that's really great.
It's delicious.
It's high quality shit, and you're not paying high quality prices. So check it out at clubw.com/Jenna Julien. 50% off your first order, and delicious wine on its way to your house. You don't even have to get up.
And it supports the podcast.
And it supports the podcast, which we very much appreciate. You guys are always very receptive to sponsors. We want you to know we really do appreciate that. Mm-hmm. We'll see you guys next week for another one.
Yeah. Dink, 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 dink.
Oh, yeah, it's playing again. Have a great week, guys. Love you guys. Bye.
Macquarie University in Edmonton, Alberta. I'll see you this week. Bye.